But now something has took place, something nobody changed into organized for. There has been current news that shook many enthusiasts to their core, leaving them heartbroken, careworn and in surprise. George Strait has constantly been well known for his peaceful, subdued demeanor. He never sought headlines or hassle. But this state-of-the-art news concerning him has long passed viral on the internet. Anyone is discussing it, but no person seems to have solutions. What may want to probably occur to a man who became invincible? How ought to one so powerful, so unflappable, turn out to be at the center of something so adverse? Youth and career. George Harvey Strait Sr. changed into born on May 18, 1952 in a tiny town of Potate, Texas. He grew up within the nearby city of Pearl in Frio County, in which matters have been simple, truthful and tradition-bound. His father, John Byron Strait Sr., changed into a junior excessive faculty math instructor. But once the faculty week became over, their weekends had been spent on a huge 2,000-acre livestock ranch. The circle of relatives had close to Huge Wells, Texas. George's upbringing changed into influenced by the land. He grew up supporting at the ranch, studying the importance of tough paintings at an early age. However, lifestyles wasn't continually smooth. George turned into within the 4th grade while his parents divorced. His mother left, and with her went his sister Pensy. That left George and his older brother John Powell Jr. to be raised by using their dad. The three of them huddled collectively and controlled to hold the family afloat, each in faculty and on the ranch. As a younger teen, George became already getting his FT wet gambling track. He played with a neighborhood rock and roll storage band from Pearl excessive school known as the Stoics. Like most teens in the 60s, George was caught up within the British invasion. He became a good-sized fan of the Beatles and different rock bands of that period. The Beatles had been big, George once said. I concentrate to them a splendid deal, and that whole institution of businesses that have been popular at the best ever. However, the all-time rock music to begin with piqued his hobby. George in the end observed his authentic vocation in United States tune. Regularly, his desire modified. He started out paying attention to us of icons like Hank Thompson, Lefty Friel, Merle Haggard, George Jones and Hank Williams. He turned into additionally partial to Bob Wills, or even took cue from Frank Sinatra's smooth and polished fashion of singing. Especially, George in no way spent his childhood stuck to United States song radio as one may think. He would alternatively pay attention to news pronounces and updates for farmers. United States tune existed for him. Not on the radio, however, in real state performances. At the all-time almost every Texas town had live United States of America song performances, and George listened to all of them. It really is the way it all commenced on Texas again. Roads in between school and ranch paintings and evenings across the neighborhood track spots. No one had any idea at the all-time that this tender-spoken, diligent young child from Pearl would grow as much as be the king of USA. But even inside the starting, George Strait became something special. George Strait's non-public life. George Strait's life off the degree has been as full of drama and the all-time tragedy because the appearing profession that propelled him to stardom. He and his high college sweetheart Norma have been eager for a lavish church wedding. So they snuck across the border into Mexico and tiptoed down the aisle in mystery lower back in December 1971. A year later in October, they had their first baby Jennifer. And 3 years after that in 1981 their son George Harvey Strait Jr., the own family truly calls him Bubba, arrived. In 1986 there was tragedy. 12-month-old Jennifer perished in a vehicle twist of fate out of doors San Marcos on June 25th. It was a loss that shook the entire Strait-owned family and permanently altered George's angle regarding privacy and repute. To pay tribute to her in a high-quality way, they established the Jennifer Lynn Strait Basis, which quietly directs donations to kids' charities at some stage in San Antonio, a dwelling memorial to the daughter they'd misplaced. Bubba got here of age to percentage his dad's passion for cowboy residing, graduating from Texas A&D NDM, and riding the professional rodeo circuit as a teen roper. George even stuck Bubba within the act on the Houston Cattle Display and Rodeo in 2006, then rushed behind the scenes and staged his own sold-out display. That the all-time circle of relatives tragedy hit the Straits again in 2009 while George's elder brother John Byron, friend Strait, handed away at age 58. Along the way, George endured to rely upon faith, family and the ranch-bred work ethic that underpins him. That equal feel of allegiance comes through in his extended association with Wrangler. In 2010 he had become a spokesperson for the Wrangler countrywide Patriot software, which seeks to elevate price range and attention for wounded and fallen U.S. troops and their households. When they approached me with a way to assist our veterans, I could not refuse, he said. You may additionally catch him on Tractor Deliver advertisements, another tip of the cowboy hat. To his rural origins, the Strait family tree keeps to grow. In February 2012, Bubba and his spouse Tamara had George Harvey Strait III, immediately making the King of United States of America, Grandpa George, identify he wears with a grin. Roping remains a passion too. From 1983 through 2017, George hosted the yearly George Instantly Crew Roping Traditional. First in Kingsville and later at the San Antonio Rose Palace, in which the satisfactory ropers in the enterprise battled for bragging rights and hefty prize money. Far away from a horse, George is in his Gulfstream G450 aircraft, tail quantity N5 Idaho GS, based in San Antonio. That plane fied him and Texas Governor Greg Abbott statewide following Hurricane Harvey in 2017 to spearhead alleviation efforts for devastated seashore towns. Philanthropy continues him energetic inside the Hill USA as properly with long the all-time pal Tom Cusk. George co-based the Vaqueros Del Mar Invitational Golf Tournament in concert at their Tapatio Springs resort west of Bourne. The occasion considering the fact that 2012 has donated over $5 million to David Farrad's Troops First basis, which helps wounded warriors and their households. Strait become rewarded for those efforts with the 2018 Texan of the Year Award from the Texas Legislative Conference. With non-public tragedy, rodeo exhilaration, and endless acts of charity, George Strait proves that cowboy principles, faithfulness, perseverance, magnanimity, go loads deeper than any primary document. Hoax, sexual harassment, and stalking declare. In 2018, a weird and stressful tale began going around on FB. Someone had posted that George Strait were accused through a woman named Emmy Lou Hayes of stalking and harassing her. The submit gained momentum the all-time, in No the All the Best Ever, and left Maximum fanatics disturbing and perplexed, as George Strait is generally recognized to be very dignified and reserved. But this tale changed into no longer proper. The fact-checking website Online Snopes investigated the declare very well. They attempted to find any proof that the woman existed or had George Strait ever been part of such allegations. Via a radical research, Snopes should discover no proof of either the female's life or the claims. It proved to be the complete story fabricated, a hoax. No police document or prison case became ever introduced in opposition to George Strait over this, and there was no reliable source corroborating the rumor. It became only a made-up story a person fabricated and then disseminated at the internet. Those varieties of false rumors hurt people, reputations due to the fact they cope with excessive accusations consisting of harassment or stalking. George Strait has maintained a completely clean slate for the duration of his lengthy career, and this false rumor was proof of ways fast records can spread on social media. Most lovers stood by means of him, aware of his person and the respect he has for others. In the end, this incident changed into discredited. That is, it become proven to be fake. It's far a first-rate lesson on why one should confirm facts earlier than one believes or stocks memories on the internet, particularly those that might destroy someone's popularity. Did George Strait in reality name Beyoncé's task trash? A couple years back, there have been some memes starting to circulate on Facebook stating that George Strait had referred to as Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter undertaking trash. For fanatics of both of those artists, this got here as a surprise, and even a disappointment. Beyoncé is a large worldwide superstar, and George Strait is a country song icon. So the belief that Strait might criticize Beyoncé publicly in this sort of harsh manner won quite a few traction. However, here's the factor, it wasn't actual. The website Saving Country Track, which has a popularity for reality checking us of a music news, investigated where the quote turned into from. They discovered that the complete account began as a satirical FB webpage, meaning it become made up for the sake of humor or parody instead of an actual interview or assertion. No interview, no recording, and no dependable source has ever displayed George Strait ever announcing whatever awful about Beyoncé or her work. Strait has never even made public remarks about Beyoncé in any respect. The meme turned into simply fake and deceptive. This type of incorrect information can spread quickly online, specifically while it entails big names from distinctive track worlds. Fanatics often react strongly without checking if what they're studying is real. That may reason pointless drama and confusion. George Strait's career has been based on admire and professionalism, and there's no indication he would make a statement like that about any other artist. It is a very good reminder to be careful no longer to trust or share viral posts without checking the statistics first. So, simply to set the record immediately, George Strait in no way mentioned Beyoncé's undertaking as trash. It truly is absolutely fabricated, and each artists are to be reputable for their endeavors of their respective genres of music. The Trump Educate gesture controversy. In 2024, at certainly one of George Strait's big stadium shows, there was a second that captured the hobby of some fans and created some controversy on social media. Strait, at the same the all the best ever making a song along, made a fast arm-ping dance gesture that a few concept turned into a quiet nod to ex-President Donald Trump, also known as the Trump Teach gesture by means of a number of his supporters. This little gesture stirred up quite a controversy because George Strait has generally averted talking approximately politics in any respect brazenly all through his indicates or public events. Flavor of United States said the news and published the various thoughts enthusiasts had regarding the gesture. Some interpreted it as an apparent political assertion, whilst others believed that it became definitely Strait's standard stage presence and had genuinely nothing to do with politics. George Strait himself remained silent on the incident. He did now not deny nor affirm any political intention of the dance move, and considerably he by no means made any reputable political support related to this incident. Consequently, the whole concept that he changed into expressing guide for Trump changed into in large part speculation. It isn't always unusual for supporters and visitors to interpret celebrities' minor gestures or the all-time and characteristic political importance to them, in particular on this intensely political surroundings. Yet without any direct declarations or actions from the subject themselves, those attempts are merely speculations. George Strait's career has been targeted on his music and performances, now not politics. And this situation didn't regulate that. The arm pull move became possibly simply part of his onstage character, no longer a political declaration. Consequently, although some fans thought they glimpsed a pro-Trump shoutout, there is no longer truly any proof that George Strait was providing a political statement. It's nevertheless an exciting little bit of speculation and now not truth. Homicide on music, Roe controversy. In 1999, George Strait and Alan Jackson partnered up on Level at the CMA Awards to sing Murder on Song Roe, a tongue-lashing wide variety written with the aid of Larry Cordall and Larry Shell. The lyrics assert that a person murdered country tune and left it mendacity in the road, blaming Nashville's main labels for pursuing pop sheen and discarding conventional sounds. Immediately, and Jackson additionally taped the duet for Strait's 2000 Greatest Hits collection, Latest Greatest Straightest Hits, and radio played the music regularly enough that it crossed over to the USA charts. Although it became in no way officially launched as a single, the song right now polarized the US tune international. Traditionalists applauded, mentioning that immediately, and Jackson have been boldly maintaining up fiddle and metal US in a generation when slick manufacturing and crossover rhythms were dominating. However, more youthful artists and specialists within the enterprise felt singled out. Some critics labeled the performance disrespectful, announcing that genres usually alternate and that there's nothing wrong with blending USA with pop impacts. Writing in 2023, Saving Us of a Tune stated that the duet served as a rallying point for fanatics who felt Nashville become leaving them at the back of you with pop trending route. Flash forward to the streaming age, and the argument hasn't misplaced its warmth. For the duration of 2024 retrospectives celebrating the track's 25th anniversary, songwriters revisited the furor. Numerous cited how the equal arguments resonate nowadays as United States stars collaborate with rappers, EDM artists and TikTok personalities. Social media enthusiasts preserve to webpage Homicide on Song Roe once they understand contemporary US die has strayed too far from twang and narrative. Even though neither directly nor Jackson has apologized for the song, both insist they merely adore conventional US die. The duet underscored a tension that still hangs over the enterprise. In a single nook are artists embracing experimentation, within the different purists afraid of losing its roots. Murder on Tune Roe made that tug-of-war a public anthem, and extra than too many years later, its refrain is a past to soundtrack each the all the best ever. The vintage faculty versus new school debate erupts. Controversy approximately George now not writing his songs. One among George Strait's long status criticisms is that he does not write the majority of his very own songs. Some lovers and music critics, the all-time the best ever, have alluded to this, arguing it makes them marvel how actual his music is. After all, in contemporary track mainly in genres country and paya, there tends to be a heavy awareness on artists also being songwriters. This changed into again a debate that was broached in 2023 when Saving Us a Song wrote approximately it again. One argument is that Strait is based too heavily on different songwriters and that it detracts come what may from his artist credibility. They question if you could surely name a person an honest storyteller if the testimonies they're singing were not instructed by means of them. But Strait's defenders, and there are numerous them, have an exclusive point of view. They argue that it's no longer about who wrote the tune, but how it is brought. Instantly has an unmistakable voice and a relaxed, powerful manner of telling a story through track. His ability to pick the proper songs and produce them to life is a skill in itself. Fans typically liken him to such legends as Frank Sinatra, who also did not write most of his personal songs, but is also regarded as one of the best entertainers ever. Instantly himself has in no way been a big complainant, approximately the grievance. In his opinion, it has usually been a count of selecting the right music with the right message, after which imparting it in a way that resonates with people. And with greater than 60 #1 singles to his credit score, it is tough to say the formula hasn't succeeded. So certain, it's actual that George Strait hasn't written the general public of the songs he plays. Perhaps it's simply in no way without a doubt been the point. What is essential is how the one songs make you experience, and Strait's record speaks for itself. That viral face at the 2024 CMA Awards. At the 2024 CMA Awards, a short digicam reduce of George Strait generated an entire lot more buzz than anybody expected. The all-time as appearing at excessive electricity, us of a rap medley, cameras reduced to Strait, who sat silently inside the crowd. His face turned into completely stone-faced. No grin, no applause, simply staring beforehand. In minutes, that video went viral. Social media enthusiasts inundated the internet with conspiracy theories. Many insisted Strait appeared disgusted through the act, stating his face appropriately meditated what actual US fans had been experiencing. Memes soon accompanied, providing it as a second of traditional USA disapproval of the new genre Meldon sound. Yahoo Enjoyment caught wind of the commotion and compiled the chatter, with some fans claiming it was a protest that did not talk louder than phrases and others quipping that he was truly fatigued or lost in notion. No one is aware of the truth for certain due to the fact Strait by no means did comment on it. He failed to make a statement or touch upon the rumors. As ever, he stored things quiet and allowed the global web experience its moment. The segment rapidly have become a type of symbol of lifestyle. For some it changed into a light-hearted commentary at the constant battle among traditional and modern-day US track. For others it turned into massively exaggerated. Sitting quietly, after all, does not always identical hate. It is able to simply be that you're no longer that excited, or which you're looking something else altogether. Ultimately, George Strait's poker face turned into a viral sensation, but whether or not it certainly did imply something remains to be seen. It's a testament to how speedy unmarried facial features can change into a full-blown net tail, in particular while that tail functions a rustic icon. Lovers felt snubbed whilst George Strait skipped Texas. Whilst George Strait launched additional dates for his 2025 stadium tour, enthusiasts have been thrilled, as a minimum in the beginning. But whilst the listing was released, one element stood out. There wasn't a single live performance in Texas. For most artists that might not be a massive deal. For George Strait, the King of United States of America and Texan to the center, it raised quite a few eyebrows. Texas fans did not spare phrases. Social media erupted with grievances, bewilderment, and even dismay. How ought he travel the kingdom and ignore his domestic kingdom, the state in which he made his call and where his largest fan base is living? Neighborhood media joined in as well. My San Antonio cited it as a snub, asserting what many Texans felt. For a kingdom that has constantly been on the center of Strait's track and identity, the shortage turned into felt for my part. Maximum had expected at the least one or huge suggests in San Antonio, Houston, or Dallas. Texas is where Strait has bought out stadiums for many years. And with the report for the biggest indoor concert in the America at DT Stadium is a venue he knows so well, there was no announced purpose why Texas would be omitted, simplest adding to the confusion. A few held out hope that a Texas display might be announced later. Others wondered if it changed into truly a scheduling battle, and some even joked that perhaps George was holding lower back Texas for something massive. However, without any confirmation, the frustration lingered. Ultimately, it wasn't a scandal, but it clearly struck a chord.